My name is Robert Baer. For more than 20 years, I worked as an undercover agent for the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, in some of the Middle East's most dangerous countries. On the 7th of July, 2005, London was the first European city to face a new form of terror, the homegrown suicide bomber. In a series of attacks, 4 suicide bombers, all British citizens, killed 52 people. For the British, the bombers came from nowhere. But suicide bombing is not new. 25 years ago, I was stationed in the Middle East when suicide bombers killed 380 Westerners. The Beirut bombings were the worst terrorist attacks until 9/11. I lost several colleagues in those explosions, and although I've now left the CIA, at the time, I vowed to make it my life's mission to find out who did it and why and where the cult to suicide bombing started. This 23-year-old man is reading his will. His name is Tariq Hamid. He is a suicide bomber. On the 30th of April, 2004, Tariq Hamid took a jeep packed with 250 kilograms of explosives. His mission is secretly filmed by a Palestinian militant group, Hamas. The target is a bus full of Jewish settlers in the Gaza Strip. But as the bus accelerates to get away, Tariq misses it. He is determined to die and chooses the next available target, an Israeli army patrol. Incredibly, all 4 Israeli soldiers survived. Tariq died. It's exactly a year since Tariq Hamid killed himself. I have been invited to a commemoration ceremony in a mosque in Gaza. All of Tariq's family and friends, the entire male community, is here to celebrate his death. For them, Tariq's suicide bombing is not a crime. It is an act of martyrdom. Tariq Hamid is the latest in a long line of Palestinian suicide bombers. In 11 years, more than 200 have blown themselves up. The climax of the evening is a showing of the film of Tariq's suicide mission. Everyone, including his father, watches Tariq, a boy from the neighborhood, blow himself to pieces. After the film, I watched as everyone greeted Tarek's father. They were all congratulating him on his son's death. For the people of Gaza, Tarek is a martyr, a hero.
When I attended the celebration yesterday, I saw that everybody there shared my grief at the loss of Tarek. I wasn't the only one. Everybody that attended the celebration, I felt that they all loved Tarek. Because Tarek was everyone's brother and everyone's friend.
قبل الاستشهاد أعطيته إذنك مظبوط؟ لا هو ما قال شيء ولا شيء.
No. Anybody who is going to carry out such an act cannot come to his father, his brother or his mother and say, I'm going to commit an act of martyrdom. Because it's a decision that is taken very quickly. You don't know what he's going to do. Yes. But if the child is determined to do it, has his heart set on doing it, then the father no longer has any influence over his child. Of course. I sometimes see Tarek in my dreams, and almost every time he's in a place covered with greenery, with trees, like paradise. I can see that he is happy.
شو تشعر لما تشوف الفيلم يعني استشهاد طارق؟
كل إنسان أنا بالنسبة لي
As a father, when I see the film, when I see the explosion, I feel that it is my heart that has exploded too. Because I cherished my son. This was my son, not just some random person.
In a film shot the day after his son's death, Tarek's father holds a photograph of Tarek above his wife's head. In life, Tarek was anonymous, but in death, he has risen up and become a blessed shaheed, a martyr. Do not consider those who are killed for Allah's sake as being dead, for they are alive and with their God, is the opening caption on a specially made film celebrating Tarek's martyrdom. His death has now become part of the elaborate propaganda used to promote the cult of the suicide bomber in Israel. My journey to uncover the origins of the suicide bomber has already shown me how the Shia concept of martyrdom was used in Iran to send child soldiers to blow up Iraqi tanks, and how in Lebanon it transformed young resistance fighters into deadly car bombers against the well-equipped Israeli army. But these were all Shia Muslims, a minority sect within Islam for whom martyrdom was an integral part of their faith. For the majority Sunni Muslims, it was an alien concept. Its use as a weapon against the Israelis by Sunni Muslim Palestinians provoked a furious debate amongst Islamic scholars over the theological difference between suicide and martyrdom. It was the Palestinian struggle for independence that finally legitimized it in the eyes of the mainstream Islamic world. The day after the ceremony in the mosque, Tarek's father took me to a political rally in one of Gaza's biggest refugee camps. His son had been a member of Hamas, the militant Palestinian group that first introduced suicide bombing into Israel. More than 5,000 people are here to see a military parade in honor of all the Palestinian martyrs that have died fighting the Israeli enemy. The climax of the rally was an appearance by members of Tariq's secret cell. The price in blood of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been high. In the last 10 years, over 1,100 Israelis and 4,600 Palestinians have been killed. Here in Gaza, I saw no signs that the cult of the suicide bomber has lost its allure. It has become a way of life.
This is the Kasbah, the western Kasbah.
I have come to Hebron, a city at the center of the conflict. Here in the Palestinian heartland, 7,000 Jewish settlers still dominate a city of 130,000 Palestinians.
H1 as well. H2
They are backed up by the Israeli army.
the hill over there.
How many soldiers are on duty at any one time to protect this?
A lot of soldiers. It's about 1,000 soldiers.
1,000?
Yeah. There is no other place in Israel that the balance between civilians and soldiers is like here.
What is the percentage of soldiers for settlers?
There is about 1,000 soldiers on 7,000 people.
Have you met any of the families of suicide bombers?
I saw them in some actions.
Did you talk to them, the families?
Yes, actually yes.
What did they tell you?
They hate me, yeah.
The center of the city is a war zone. The Israeli army dominates the streets. Half of the ancient bazaar is now empty and dead, as the Israeli army has forced many Palestinians to abandon their shops. The Jewish settlers have covered the walls with hate-filled graffiti, demanding the Arabs get out. So here's where the settlers live up here, and according to these kids, they throw rocks and boiling water on the people walking down the street. It's probably why these shops are all closed. I mean, how could you stay open if people are throwing boiling water on you?
The way they treat us, it's not like a human being. They treat us like animals, like dogs. I mean, they know me well, like I'm a shopkeeper here. Every morning they stop me and they'll have to check my identification card and they see the keys and everything. Where are you going to?
Here in Hebron, 11 years ago, one bloody incident triggered the start of suicide bombing in Israel.
Get a microphone. Huh? Microphone? You have not knife? No knife, no gun.
In the center of the city stands an ancient building, holy to Jews and Muslims alike, both a synagogue and a mosque, and a constant friction point over who had the right to worship here. Then, on the 25th of February 1994, during early morning prayers, a fanatical Jewish settler, Baruch Goldstein, walked into the mosque and opened fire. Goldstein gunned down 29 worshipers and injured more than 100. The slaughter only stopped when he was rushed by the crowd and beaten to death. The scale of this massacre stunned the Arab world. Not only had innocent Muslims been murdered, but the sanctity of a holy place had been defiled. The bloodbath sparked a wave of riots and street battles throughout Israel and the occupied territories. The Palestinian militant group, Hamas, vowed to take revenge. 40 days later, after the traditional Muslim period of mourning, Hamas struck back on the streets of a quiet Israeli town. On the 6th of April, 1994, a 19-year-old Palestinian suicide bomber rammed a car full of explosives into a bus in the northern Israeli town of Afula. 8 people were killed and 44 injured. It was the first fatal suicide bomb attack in Israel, the start of a long and bloody campaign. Unlike in Iran and Lebanon, the targets were now bus passengers, diners, and teenagers going to a disco. Every year, the families of those first victims remember their loved ones in a graveyard outside Afula. The gravestone of 17-year-old Maya al-Harar is carved with images of the attack, a public reminder of how she died. Later that evening, I went to a religious service in the local synagogue. I was introduced to Maya's younger sister, who was with her seconds before she was killed in the blast. She has never before spoken publicly about that day.
So, you heard an explosion?
Yes, a big one.
Did you feel it? I mean, what did it feel like?
Yes. I take only 5 steps from there, and I hear it is big. Everything is a bit dark and some smoky but it's been so silent.
Afterwards, it was silence.
Yes, I don't hear nothing, and after a few seconds, I hear people cry and come over me, through me, blood all over the body. I can't do anything.
Did you find your sister?
No. I understand that something happened there in the stage because I've been only few steps from there. I can't do anything. I don't know. I can't walk. I can't speak.
You were
in
dazed.
shock.
Dazed.
Yes, it was.
When did you know your sister was dead?
After a few hours. My sister never do arms for anyone. She only wants to live. And
so there is no reason for this?
No reason. I never understand them. Never.
Will you ever be able to forgive?
No. Never.
You can never forgive.
When the day my sister killed, murder, they also take something from me. It's always, they kill also my soul.
One man was responsible for introducing suicide bombing into Israel. He transformed it from a weapon of war to a weapon of terror. From the start, he was labeled as the engineer and was responsible for organizing more attacks and causing more deaths than any other bomber. Deep in the Palestinian-controlled West Bank, in the village of Rafat, I arranged to meet the family of the first Palestinian master bomber, a man that struck fear into every Israeli, Yahya Ayash.
He was the most peaceful of all my children. Calm.
He was top of his class at school and at university.
Electrical engineering books.
He had a gift for fixing small radios and things like that.
Everyone in the village used to bring their radios to him so that he might fix them. Everyone loved him. The whole village loved him. Everyone who came into contact with him loved him. Everyone loved him.
He was friends with everyone.
Everyone loved him because he was an honorable man. He wouldn't harm a fly. Everyone loved him and he loved them in return.
In 18 months, Ayash masterminded 10 suicide bombs, bringing random death and terror to the streets of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Every bus was a potential target, every bus stop and hotel a potential killing ground. Nowhere and no one was safe.
شو تفتكروا لما تشوف بشاشة التلفزيون يعني الباصات يعني في أطفال وفي ما بعرف شو وإمرأات.
The Jews also kill women, the elderly, and children. All Jews are soldiers. They're all soldiers. Everyone is a soldier. Tell me who amongst them isn't a soldier. We, on the other hand, don't have any soldiers. None. This land doesn't belong to the Jews. It belongs to the Palestinians. It's for the Muslims, not for the Jews.
That's what these attacks are for. Let Allah bring goodness, tranquility and peace of mind to us and all other Muslims.
General chemistry, principles and structure. Yahya Ayash's book. This is his chemistry book, which obviously looks well read. It's interesting because there's a surat from the Quran in his chemistry book. This looks like one of his notes. This is written in English. This is a whole about notes on switches. And here's a plan for a Luger pistol. It's a Mauser. It's interesting to see a chemistry book with plans for disassembling, field assembling, and disassembling weapons. For more than 2 years, Yahya Ayash was the most wanted man in Israel, but he evaded capture, humiliating one of the most feared intelligence agencies in the world, Shin Bet, the Israeli Secret Service. One of the men who led the hunt for Ayash, Major General Perry Golan, agreed to meet me and speak for the first time.
I would say that from my expertise point of view, I will tell you that we couldn't catch Yahya Ayash because we didn't have the right and the accurate intelligence.
Did you have any knowledge at that time how dangerous he would become?
We understood from the beginning that he's going to be the pioneer in suicide attacks. He showed us the evidence. We saw it. Homemade explosives, the same devices, the same idea how to build up the car bomb, how to put inside the explosive, how to connect it with the devices. So
it was his signature.
Yeah. I was next to a bus a few minutes after a suicidal blow himself inside the bus. I saw the bodies. I can smell the smell of the burned bodies. It's a terrible feeling because my job was to prevent it.
Save lives.
And whenever there is attack, the meaning of attack is that we failed. We failed in our mission. It's a very bad feeling.
So we have a mass murderer on the run, Yahya Ayash.
Yeah.
He's set off 2 bombs, one in Tel Aviv, one in Afula, and continues 6 or 7 attacks. What happens to him? He's on the move, then where does he go?
You run away from the West Bank to the Gaza Strip. You're thinking that in Gaza you will be safe. And I can tell you that finally, we get him.
You got him.
We got him, yeah.
Gaza was the perfect place for Ayash to hide. After the Israelis handed partial control to the Palestinians in May 1994, it became a refuge and a recruiting ground for suicide bombers. Today, the faces of martyrs stare from every billboard and wall, but one face dominates, Ayash's. In 1994, the Israeli Prime Minister secretly authorized the intelligence service to assassinate him. I was told there was one man still alive who knew Ayash while he was a hunted man, a friend from university, who had been a member of his secret cell. 10 years ago, he had hidden Ayash in a safe house. He has never spoken about him before. I wanted him to show me Ayash's final hiding place and where he died.
It happened like this. He was lying down on the bed and he was holding his phone like this. And then he started talking to his father. They spoke about Yahya's son, because Yahya, God have mercy upon him, had just had a baby son, 10 or 11 days before he was martyred. So he was talking with his father for 15 minutes or so. Then it exploded.
Israeli intelligence recruited a Palestinian informer who betrayed Ayash and placed a small bomb inside his mobile phone.
When it exploded, nothing happened to his palm, but his fingers were blown off. His head was blown clean off. And all the windows were broken. There was glass everywhere. There was blood all over the place. But nothing happened to the palm in which he was holding the phone. Everything was black for a while. And then I saw his hand fall from his head like this. He was lying like this. He was dead. He was decapitated.
As news of Ayash's death spread through Gaza, thousands of people spontaneously took to the streets, clutching pictures of him. In a show of defiance, models of the buses he had bombed were paraded through the crowds. 500,000 people attended his funeral. For the Palestinians, Ayash was the first hero of the cult of the suicide bomber. But for the Israelis, he was a mass murderer, responsible for the deaths of more than 130 people.
What did you feel when you heard he was dead?
Look, we understood that Yahya Ayash was very dangerous. He was responsible for a lot of casualties in Israel. So, to be honest, my feeling was very good.
It's very good.
When I've heard that
you were happy.
He was gone. Yeah.
You were happy.
I was very happy. Yes.
At Ayash's home village, the Israeli army arrived outside his house and blew it up. It became the standard Israeli policy to punish the families of suicide bombers.
He tried to take the rubble away, and the Israeli army wouldn't let him. They came by and stopped him. They brought in a bulldozer, and they stopped him from taking it. They want this to be a reminder of what happens to people involved in suicide bombing.
The Jews don't like people dying. We don't mind dying. That's the difference. The Israeli Prime Minister himself said that. He asked how it was possible to protect people from someone who wanted to die. That's why the Jews are afraid.
Just outside the house, I found a man painting a poster.
هذا شو اسمه؟ وكيف مات؟ هو كان موبايل هو الشهيد هو الشهيد مهم.
يزداد مع الجيل.
Every generation has more followers of Yahya Ayash's vocation, and the number increases with each year. Every street must produce its own Yahya Ayash, every district. He is the person that all mothers-to-be want their child to be like, because Yahya Ayash's mission was to defend the people. His mission was not one of evil or hatred.
A few days after Ayash's death, Hamas issued a communique. Ayash did not die, but left behind a new holy war. The chain of martyrs will never stop. Don't be so happy, we are coming. 6 weeks later, Hamas exacted bloody retribution. 4 suicide attacks in 7 days killed 59 people. After 10 years of fighting this new form of terror, Israel's prisons now contain more captured suicide bombers than anywhere in the world. I was given free access to meet these men. The first prisoner I met was a close colleague of Yahya Ayash. A key leader of Hamas, Abdel Nasser Issa, personally masterminded 2 suicide attacks, in which 10 Israelis were killed and more than 130 wounded. I wanted to hear why he was prepared to use suicide bombing to kill civilians.
The sin that is the occupation creates an abundance of those who want to resist, who are ready to commit an act of martyrdom to regain the rights of the people and of the state. There's no problem there. No problem at all. Quite the opposite. There are hundreds, if not thousands of Palestinians who are prepared to risk their lives in order to gain freedom and independence. The martyrs are all graduates from the University of the Occupation. Who has brought this about? Who's caused dozens to be killed in the Abraham Mosque? Who has caused so many to be killed on buses in Tel Aviv? It's the occupation. It is my duty as a human being to retaliate if I am attacked. I have to defend myself. This is a concept common to humanity. That's the reason. Put an end to the Israeli occupation, and you'll put an end to the problem.
Israel has 24 prisons containing more than 5,300 security prisoners, jailed for their part in attacks against the Israeli state. Ahmed Salah Azza was arrested for helping to organize 2 suicide bombings that killed 21 Israelis. He is in prison for life.
It's not a matter of being happy or angry. We didn't say it was suicide. You call it suicide. In the language of the occupiers, this is called suicide. But in our language, this is martyrdom. In the end, all martyrs are fighters. But we don't have rockets to send against Israel. We don't have cruise missiles with which to strike Tel Aviv. But we do have martyrs with bombs who are willing to blow themselves up. This is war, not suicide. Of course.
Hassan Kalut wanted to be a suicide bomber, but he was arrested before he could blow himself up. His target was a bus full of Israelis.
A person's feelings in these situations, especially when about to embark on a holy mission, is of great joy, because the individual knows that he's going to our God. Especially when you consider the state of our country, the conditions of the occupation. That's why I'm going to commit an act of jihad.
يعني في مرة واحدة ما تخاف من الموت يعني في هالوقت يعني بوصف الليل ما بعرف شو شوف فكرت عن الموت بهالاستشهادة.
Martyrdom is the highest belief in life.
ما كان في خوف.
There's nothing to be scared of. That's how it is. Death is death, every day. Why should we let someone else bring death to us? No. Why should we let them act in this way? No. Why should I let them come and kill me? I want to kill them more than they want to kill me. But I know that I am going to heaven, whereas they are going to hell. And that's that.
For more than 10 years, the Israelis and Palestinians have been locked in a bloody cycle of violence. A seemingly never-ending war. More than 200 suicide bombers have blown themselves up, killing more than 750 Israelis and wounding another 5,000. For their part, the Israelis have killed more than 4,600 Palestinians and wounded another 30,000 in bloody clashes throughout the occupied territories. And every new funeral provides more recruits for the cult. In 2002, the Israelis began building what they call a security fence. When finished, it will be almost 500 miles long and in places over 30 feet high. Many Palestinian towns will be completely surrounded, and it will need an estimated 10,000 soldiers to man its ramparts. The Israelis claim it has one purpose: to keep out the suicide bomber. For them, the only solution is now complete separation, a barrier between Jew and Arab, Israeli and Palestinian. One of the wall's architects is counterintelligence chief Major General Yossi Chen. He wanted to show me the valley through which the first suicide bomber came 10 years ago. Today, that road is blocked by the wall.
In the first 8 months of 2003 were killed, murdered in this area, 63 Jews. From the time the fence was completed in this area in August 2003, no one was murdered in this road this way.
How many were before?
63.
And today it's 0.
0. And this is the difference.
And that's the proof.
It's the proof and the evidence. And my arguments from the reason to the building of the fence.
So you think the fence will work?
Yes. Yes. I want that the fence will be complete from here, from Beit She'an Valley until Dead Sea.
Although the Israelis prefer to call it a fence, for the Palestinians, this wall is just the latest and the most divisive symbol of the occupation, and only serves to fuel their hatred. But no wall can stop a cult. Suicide bombing is more than just a man armed with a bomb. It has become an ideology, almost a religion, and the bomber will always get through. The Israeli city of Tel Aviv. Its long seafront promenade is full of restaurants and cafes. Halfway along is a small bar, popular with holidaymakers. On the 30th of April 2003, shortly after midnight, the bombers struck. 3 people were killed, a waitress and 2 musicians, and 55 more were injured. That night, 1 man prevented a massacre. The bar's chief bouncer, Avi Tabib, spotted the bomber, refused to let him in, and wrestled him to the ground. The bomber then blew himself up. Avi Tabib suffered horrific injuries. He had stared death in the face and survived. He is now back at work at Mike's place.
So what did you see in this guy's eyes?
You can't really forget those eyes. What did I see in those eyes? Craziness. I don't know. That's all I can think of.
Did you see murder?
It was really weird to me that he was such in a rush to go in and have a beer. He has to drink a beer. This place and right now, and he has to have a beer. And something, I don't know, you don't think about that it's a suicidal bomber because it doesn't look like a suicidal bomber. He looked like a drug addict.
How far was he away when he went off? Jesus. And why did you survive?
The expert said that because I was this close, the shot didn't have enough space to open up. And he said that if I was, I don't know, a few inches away, I wouldn't be here today.
What made this attack different from all the others was the identity of the bombers. They weren't Palestinian or even of Middle Eastern origin. They were British.
We have problems and we seek Tony Blair and George Bush to help us. Who's Tony Blair and George Bush? I wish for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala either to guide them or for his wrath to come upon these people. And that will be the best of the days for Muslims when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings his wrath upon these people.
A few days before their attack, Omar Khan Sharif and Asif Hanif recorded a video will. They did it under the flag of one of the Palestinian militant groups, Hamas. Israeli intelligence soon discovered that one of the bombers was from Derby and the other from Hounslow in West London. They had no previous police records before traveling via Syria to Israel.
What do you think about these two guys?
I mean, what's the big thing of like going into a place and blow yourself up? I mean, besides the fact that you decided on that your life is worth nothing. I don't know, the fact that he's not even a Palestinian, to me, it's like, what the hell, it's not even your business.
جئنا من بريطانيا لكي نجاهد في سبيل الله ونقاتل عدو المسلمين.
These two British bombers showed that the cult of the suicide bomber is no longer confined to the Middle East or one particular conflict. It is now a global phenomenon. Any group with a grievance could copy this incredibly cost-effective weapon. Their targets are not occupying armies, but whoever the bomber declares is his enemy. From the Tamil Tigers of Sri Lanka to the Black Widows of Chechnya, to the fanatics of Al-Qaeda on the streets of New York, the whole world now faces a pitiless enemy. A person without fear of death is one of the most deadly weapons imaginable. Today in Iraq, there are more suicide attacks in a single month than a whole year of bombings in Israel. Many are secretly filmed and broadcast on the internet. In a savage irony, most of the victims are now Shia Muslims, killed by Sunni insurgents. This Muslim-on-Muslim slaughter leaves many Shia religious leaders enraged.
In my opinion, and in the opinion of any right-minded person in today's world, they are not human beings, let alone martyrs. They are worse than the cruelest wolves. At least a wolf openly hunts a lamb before killing it. But these people use hidden and secret means of terror. And by being named suicide bombers, they drag the good name of humanity through the mud. Every day, they are hated more for what they do.
Nowhere and no one is now safe. The suicide bombers can strike at any time. In July 2005, they hit Britain. 8 separate bomb attacks on the streets of London killed 52 people and wounded more than 700. The fact that the bombers themselves were British Muslims has thrown Britain's Muslim community into a state of crisis. I am going to meet a renowned Muslim scholar who has devoted his life to challenging Islamic fundamentalism, Professor Tariq Ramadan.
In an Islamic context, what is the justification for suicide bombing?
My position is no. It's not Islamically justified, and we cannot justify it. Whatever is the situation, the means that killing innocent people is illegitimate according to the Islamic principles.
What was the precise aim of the bombers on July 7th?
I think clearly, if we look at what they are trying to do, is to divide us. It's to spread an ideology of fear. And by the way, by doing this, by nurturing this ideology of fear and by targeting the people, they spread two things. The first is that we are all potential victims. The British society can be the victim of the extremist Muslims, and the Muslims can be the victims of the British society by being targeted. And these victims cannot just react, they're just looking at each other in a very bad way, bad perception. The second is really this, is that they want the Muslims to understand that the West don't like them, that the West is the enemy. So by nurturing Islamophobia in the British society, it's a self-fulfilled prophecy. That, look, we told you, they don't like you, they don't like Islam. So by doing it, they nurture this potential, rejection of from the British society, and then the Muslims can feel it. So, and you have once again this divide, this clash, fracture between the people.
So they want the clash of civilization.
They want a clash, yes, and it could be the clash of civilization. I think that they want all the Muslims to understand that the Western civilization is the enemy.
Us against them.
Yes.
In less than 30 years, the pathological virus of suicide bombing has spread from the battlefields of Iran to the tube stations of London. It has evolved from a targeted weapon of war to an indiscriminate weapon of terror. Throughout all its stages, one feature has been constant: a popular cult that hailed the bombers as glorious martyrs and attempted to give some meaning to their bloody acts. In the latest mutations, suicide bombing has lost any attachment to a cause. The bomber's target is not an oppressor or an occupying army. There is no apparent meaning to what they have done. For them, death is the only aim. In its latest and most disturbing development, suicide bombing has turned into a weapon of chaos.
Ladies and gentlemen, please listen to me very carefully. I need you to move this way, please, as quick as you can. Okay, as quick as you can, please. Please stop it.